Why, hello, everyone. Hello. If you don't know this voice by now, then why are you watching this video on YouTube or listening to the audio form on Apple Podcast and Amazon Music Podcast? What is up, guys? It is James, a.k.a. Jimmy Pancakes 20, back here to do a new video/podcast for you. And we're finally, after almost about 2 weeks, we are finally getting to our Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2024 Opening Night Impressions video. Now, if you guys watched the vlog video that we did, you know that we only did 3 of the mazes, which was the Weekend, Triple Terror, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Legend of Jigsaw, and Dead Exposure, Death Valley, and we saw the Chucky show because opening night was so packed. There was so much media. Lines were insane. So don't worry. My co-host and myself are going back 2 more times. So we're definitely going to be doing the ones that we missed first when we go back the second time, and then do the ones that we did, and then we're, of course, going on closing night, which is November 3rd. So, I just wanted to get that out of the way that we are only going to be talking about the 3 mazes that we did on opening night, as well as the 1 show that we did, which was the Chucky show, and probably on the second night, we're going to watch the Purge stunt show so we can see if it's different from last year or if it's the same. So I wanted to get that out of the way, and I also wanted to let people know, why are we doing the video on YouTube just has the audio with 1 photo? Currently, my co-host Marsha and I are not feeling well. We're really sick, and our faces, are not really good because we didn't want to show ourselves on camera, and my laptop is currently not working. I'm getting it fixed right now, so we just had to pump out the video and the audio podcast just with the audio going on Apple Podcasts and Amazon Music Podcast, and then the video form just with the audio with 1 photo. That's why you're seeing that if you're watching this on YouTube. But don't worry, my laptop should be back to working within a couple of days. And then I'll be doing videos again with the photos and stuff once everything is back to normal. So I just wanted to get that all out of the way before I brought my co-host Marsha in to the conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, introducing my co-host, my mom, Marsha. So, Mom, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
So, Mom, are you ready to talk about opening night of Halloween Horror Nights?
Yes, I am.
So, guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy this video/podcast opening night of HHN Hollywood 2024 Impressions video. So, you guys are wondering, yes, we did buy the Express. We bought the general admission with the early entry, and that day my leg was really bad. It was hurting, so we were taking our time getting to the mazes, and we did do early entry where we were walking around looking at some of the shops and stuff like that. And by the time we were going to do Ghostbusters, those lines were already almost 40 minutes, 40 to 50 minutes, because everyone was rushing to that. And we took the shuttle down, and the shuttle took a while. So by the time we got to the lower lot was maybe about 6:30, and we went straight and did the weekend maze, which was the first maze that we did. So general admission was the thing. It did allow me to take my time to get to the mazes. But when we go the second time, the first ones we're going to hit is Ghostbusters and Insidious, because those are the mazes that we really want to do. And then maybe after that, hit the Terror Tram, and then go from there. But definitely, as I said, my co-host Marsha and I are going going back 2 more times. So we're going to be able to see everything at least once. And then on closing night, going to try to hit everything again. So we saw everything twice, but it just depends. So the first maze we're going to talk about is the weekend maze, which was called the Weekend Nightmare Trio. So this maze is the second time that Hollywood has done a maze with the Weekend. In 2022 was the first time that Hollywood and Orlando got a weekend maze, which was called The Weekend After Hours. It was based off his 2020 album After Hours. And that maze was good. I'm definitely, when we get to the history video for 2022, I have a lot to say about that maze. And then I was surprised that that Hollywood was getting a weekend maze again, but it was only going to be exclusive to Hollywood. I thought Orlando was maybe going to get it. Your thoughts on that, Mom?
I mean, I thought both the coasts were going to get it, but it turned out it's only in Hollywood, which I was thinking, what? I mean, sometimes they share the properties, and I'm totally surprised that the weekend wasn't in Orlando.
Right. So this maze is based off 3 of his albums. The 2020 hit album After Hours, his 2021 album Damn FM, and then his upcoming album Hurry Up Tomorrow, which is not out yet, but it was based on all 3 of those albums. And this was located in Soundstage 15. That's where they had Stranger Things last year in 2023. I was trying to remember. So as you enter the soundstage, the facade of this maze was a giant city landmark with the Weekend in the middle pumping up the music to get you excited to go into the maze. And I want to make this clear because a lot of people get confused about this. It was not the actual Weekend. It was not the Weekend himself. It was an actor that was dressed up as the Weekend. And depending on when you went in, you either saw the one in the red jacket. That was from his album. He wore that red jacket a lot in Damn After. Like, it was in a lot of the music videos for for After Hours. It was in Blinding Lights. It was in After Hours, the official music video. So he wore that red jacket a lot. Or from Damn FM, he had a black jacket with a white beard. So, as I said, depending on when you went into the soundstage, you either had the person in the red jacket or you had the person with the black jacket with the white beard. And I think that is from his second album, which was Damn FM. I think that's where he had that look for that album. But I could be 100% wrong, but I think that's what it was. But, Mom, your thoughts when we first saw that facade?
I thought it was wonderful. I mean, it's like, whoa! Like, city and everything, it looked really good.
It did. So the first room you walk into is a hallway with a white light. It's where you're going in between the 3 albums throughout this maze. So they have scenes from After Hours, they have scenes from Damn FM, and then you have scenes from his upcoming album, Hurry Up Tomorrow. So, your thoughts on that hallway with the white light, Mom?
I really didn't like it. Kind of gave me a headache. But I made it through the whole maze.
Yeah. And you had that a couple of times in
the maze.
So the first official room that you enter into this is you're in an alleyway and you had people that were taking photos. So they really were just dummies that looked like paparazzi that were taking your photo. And then at the end, before you went into the next room, you had a person dressed as the Weeknd, but he was dressed up as a street punk, but with an alien kind of looking face. That's how I described it. I mean, your thoughts, Mom, on that?
It looked like an alien to me, but you know the room looked really good. I really enjoyed that room.
I did. All right, so the next room I call the money room, where there was money like wallpaper all over this room. In this room, you had about 4 scare actors that came out and scared you. So you had the Weeknd that was, it kind of looked like a dentist office. That's what it kind of looked like to me, where he was dressed in this weird robe and his face was all demented and he had like this, had this gas mask that he kept putting on his face. And then, again, depending on when you came in, you either had the person in the red jacket or the old man Weeknd with the white beard. That was your second scare. And then you had a third scare, which sometimes you would have the white man or the red jacket. And sometimes, if you were lucky, you would have both of them. Getting you at the same time. And then as you were leaving that room, you had the person that had an alien mask that was in a whole money suit. So I couldn't tell you from what album that was from. So your thoughts on that, Mom?
That room was amazing. I really liked that room.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, really good.
Mm-hmm. So the next room is you're in Club Death, where you have one scare from the Weeknd. That's the white beard Weeknd, and he's like kind of high above you, and he comes out and scares you, and then goes back in. I thought that room was pretty cool.
It was cool.
I did enjoy that one.
It was really, really cool.
So then you walk into a hallway and you have your second light that was now a blue light. So you had the white light first, then you had the blue light. I was like, okay. So
I think that what they were doing is separating the rooms.
Or the albums, I think.
The albums, yeah.
Right. So the next room you enter is a wall of hands, and you had someone dressed up as the Weeknd that scared you, but he came out from the dark, so you couldn't see him. That was a good scare.
That was a good scare. I wasn't expecting him to scare me like that.
Exactly. So the next room you enter is a bathroom where you see a demonic baby Weeknd, and the scare actor comes out from a mirror. Kind of like Bloody Mary. So you see the baby, you're walking down the hallway, and then she comes out from you from the right, opens a window, pretends to stab you, and then closes the window. So that kind of scare effect.
Was that the baby in the tub?
In the tub, yes.
Yeah, and then the girl.
Yeah, in the window.
Okay.
Yeah.
That one.
Mm-hmm. So then the next room you enter is either a club or an apartment, and you see the Weeknd with a weird eyes over his face, and then you see it's either a dancer or a stripper that looks like an alien come out.
She really did look like an alien.
Yeah.
To me.
Mm-hmm. Then the next room that you enter, I call the eyeball room because there was eyes all over. And some of them were skill actors and you didn't know where they were. And there was like 2 or 3 of them in that room.
Right.
So.
Some of them looked like dummies, but some of them were live actors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then you enter another hallway and you have another one that's now a red light. So yeah. So then the next room that you enter, you see the Weeknd on a saw table getting cut in half. But I want to make it clear that was not a live actor. That was a dummy. And you had someone that was dressed like as a demon that was pushed in the dummy. So they used that same effect in Freaky, where the girl was pretending to cut the person in half. So it was that same saw table that I recognized. Then the next room, you see the Weeknd on the table getting sacrificed when his heart is being pulled out. And they used that effect multiple times. They used it in Alien vs. Predator. They used it in Holidays in Hell, where the Valentine's yeah. So if people know that scene, then that's what you saw. And then in the next room, there were saw blades all over where you were like in a meat grinder. Or
a meat factory or something.
Something, yeah.
I think it was a meat factory.
I don't know. Like, I'm just,
I don't know.
And then in the middle of the room, you see one of the nurses from the Weeknd music video. They didn't really have a lot of those nurses a lot in that. You had one in that room. And then in the next room, if you looked up, there was another nurse that was on the balcony, which I didn't recognize when we went through it, but watching the video on YouTube, we saw it. The next room is you see the Weeknd on a hospital bed where the demon baby is coming out of his chest, and then there's a woman pretending to pour gasoline on him. Don't know the specifics of that.
Don't ask me. I don't know, James.
And this is the room where if you look up, you'll see one of those nurses again. The next room was, I couldn't really describe, but the characters had sheets on them and then they wore these like metal masks.
Like a ghost room or something?
I don't really know, but
I'm guessing a ghost room.
I don't know. And one of them was on stilts. So, so there you go. So then, you enter another hallway and you're back to the white light. So you started with the white light, you ended with the white light. And then you enter a hallway where you see a giant mess up Weeknd with all these different creatures on him. It's a giant puppet that comes out and scares you, and then you're out of the maze. So that is the Weeknd maze. So again, Mom, this is our first impressions. This is not our review. We're going to do the review after the event is over, but just the first time going through this maze. Your thoughts on it?
I really liked it. I got some good scares in there. But those lights in the hallway, I didn't really like them.
Okay. So you're hoping when we go back, like, then maybe those lights are toned down or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't want another headache like I had after the Weeknd maze.
That was the first maze that we went to that night.
Right.
Yeah.
I liked everything except those lights, and they gotta tone it down. Yeah. I don't know if people were complaining about those lights, but we'll tone it down.
But we'll see next time we go back.
But the maze was really good.
Yeah. So my first impressions of this maze, I did enjoy it. I didn't really have any complaints. I'm looking forward to hearing his new album, Hurry Up Tomorrow. And I really want to watch those music videos because some of those I understand most of those rooms, but some of them I just did not know. So
Right.
hopefully that album will come out before we go back again.
Yes.
So I can understand. All right. So after we did the weekend, we went straight to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Legend of Leatherface. So, a little backstory. This is a tribute to all Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. In this maze, you saw every single version of Leatherface. From the original film that came out in 1974 to the Netflix movie that came out in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
This is an original story created by John Murdy. And then this is also marks the 50th anniversary of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. As I mentioned, the original movie came out in 1974. So there's a backstory to this maze, and it's a very long one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to the Halloween Horror Nights Midsummer Scream panel where he talks about the whole backstory, everything
that's going to be in that maze.
That's going to be in this maze. So if you're interested in hearing the backstory of what you're going through, I recommend checking out the Midsummer Scream panel, and I will put a link to that panel down below so you guys can check it out if you want to know the backstory. But the backstory was really interesting. Basically, to give you the short version, is you're going into the going into the
meat factory.
Meat factory, thank you, not the farmhouse, the meat factory. Okay. And it's basically the Sawyer family has taken over this meat factory, and then you eventually go to the graveyard from the original movie, and then you eventually end up in the Sawyer house at the very end of the maze. So, also, they did a tribute to the two guys that created Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was Toby Hooper and Kim. I don't know how to say his last name, but the meat factory is named Hopper, and the last name of the other person, Meat Processing. So, as you guys know, a couple years ago, we lost Toby Hooper. He passed away. So, this was a kind of a tribute to him. And John Murray was so excited about doing this maze and doing an original story for this maze. And I was really excited to go through this one. I think this is like the one that everyone is trying to go to because this is an original story and all that. So, moving forward from there, I know that was a lot of information, but I wanted to let people know.
But I just tell you, I was really excited about this maze.
I was.
Going there.
Yes. So as I said, if you want to hear the whole backstory of what this maze is about, definitely check the link down below for the Midsummer Scream
panel.
Halloween Horror Nights panel, where John Murray goes into what this maze is. Okay, so the facade, of course, is the factory that's named after the two creators of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Also, as you enter the facade, you see the first scare actor, which is a pig man with overalls. So he has like a pig mask on with overalls and stuff like that. So the first couple of hallways you go down, and you hear the sound of pigs being slaughtered, chickens, and hear humans being screamed too, because, that's what the movie's about. And then you eventually come to a hallway where you see Leatherface's face mask, covered up, on shelves. So you kind of understand you're going into the slaughterhouse. And then you enter the first room where is the meat locker, and you see the first Leatherface come out. And so I think that was from the original movie. I think the first Leatherface you see is from the original movie, but I could be wrong. But as I said, you're going to see every single version of Leatherface in this maze. So the next room is you're in the pig corral where Chop Top and the next Leatherface are scaring you into the next room. So they have like cattle prods that they use for cows and pigs to move them into the next room. So that's that room. Your thoughts on the first two rooms?
I really liked it. I'm glad this was the original story. But so far, the maze is good.
Yeah. So the next room you enter is where they store the meat that they are going to cut up, and you see Grandpa, you see the hitchhiker, and as you're leaving the room, Leatherface comes out and chases you out of the room. And you see Grandpa pretending to beat someone with a hammer. And then the hitchhiker is like trying to convince you to stay.
Right.
And then the hitchhiker is the distraction, and then Leatherface comes out and scares you into the next room.
So that was the discretion for Leatherface coming out.
Yeah, the hitchhiker.
The girl, right?
No, the hitchhiker.
The hitchhiker, okay.
Yeah. The next room is you're back in another corral. It's not the pig one, but you see the father and another Leatherface pushing you into the next room, and they have these like oars that they're pretending to hit you with. I don't know. Then you enter a small hallway. The hitchhiker comes out and scares you. And the hallway is dark, so you don't see him come out until, like, the flash of light hits you. Then you enter a next room, and you see Leatherface cutting a person's face off. And it's another storage meat room. You enter the hallway, and you go past these giant meats that you have to push through. And you enter 3 more hallways until you get to the next room. So after you leave the room with Leatherface cutting the person's face off, you go into the hallway where you have to pass these meats and these human skins that are like mixed in, and then you go down 3 small hallways to get to the next room. Sorry. The next room you see Chop Top pushing the cart. This is where they dispose the bodies, and you're in like kind of like I wouldn't say the meat grinder room. I wasn't really sure. And then there's a dummy that pops up that sprays you with water, and then on the other side, Leatherface gets you as you're leaving that room. Then you come to a next hallway, and another Leatherface scares you as you enter the next room. The next room is you're going down another hallway that you have to pass more meats with the hanging pigs and stuff, and then eventually you get to the next area, which is the graveyard, where another Leatherface comes behind a tombstone and scares you. Then you see the facade of the Sawyer house. So far, Mom, about those other rooms?
I liked them all. Good scares. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Really liked it so far.
Mm-hmm.
With the storylines.
But before you enter the Sawyer house, another Leatherface comes and scares you and then you enter the Sawyer house. As you enter the Sawyer house, you go past these bone door pieces. Like, it was like these things that they hanged up as you entered, and it was kind of like curtains, but they were like made out of bones. You see the staircase going up, and then you come face to face with Leatherface, and they recreate the famous basement scene where Leatherface opens the metal door and he scares you, and then he closes the door back up. I really enjoyed that they did that scene. Then you go through black hallways and you get one last scare with a final Leatherface before you exit the maze. And that is the Leatherface maze. Or the Chainsaw Massacre maze. The Legend of Leatherface. So, your first impressions of that maze?
Good scares. Really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect what he was talking about at Midsummer Scream.
Yeah, I mean, everything that he said at Midsummer Scream, you got in this maze.
And that was a good maze.
Mm-hmm.
Really well done, John Murdy.
Okay. So.
Really liked it.
Yeah, so then we moved to the final maze that we did for the night. Because by the time we were going to do Universal Monsters Legend Collide, that line went up to like an 80-minute wait. By the time we got back up to the upper lot, we were going to do the Terror Tram. That went to a 40-minute wait, so it was just bad. Even we had the early entry and the Gets the Census Pass, we still couldn't get through all the mazes. So we have 5 that we have to do on the second night, plus the Terror Tram, which we are going to hit those mazes first, and then we'll do the 3 that we did on opening night. So the final maze that we did for the night was Dead Exposure Death Valley. So this one was a original maze that was created for Hollywood, but the concept started all the way back in Orlando in 2008. There's a whole story about it. And then they did a maze that was in Paris in 2019. And then we brought the Dead Exposure here to Hollywood as the original concept maze here. But the original story happened in Orlando. So it was called Dead Exposure Death Valley. So as you entered the maze, you were entering a military base that was out in the middle of Death Valley. Like a secret military base. Mm-hmm. As you enter, you see a van that crashed into the facility, and you go past the security guard station, and the first scare actor before you even enter the maze is a military security guard that is a zombie. Mm-hmm. The first area of the base that you enter is the security checkpoint. But the security checkpoint is damaged by the van that crashed into it, and you see the driver did not survive. Then as you enter the base, you get another scare actor that looks like another military security guard zombie. Then the next area you go into is the Primal Research Facility. As you enter, you see a person in a hazmat suit as a zombie, so he gets you. He's a distraction as another one that's dressed as the same comes out from your left, and so you get the double scare. You have the one that you're looking at, and you have the one that comes out that gets you.
I really like this maze. Original.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the scare at the beginning, the van, and the two double scares that you get. You're looking at one and then the other one came out.
Yeah.
I really like that so far.
Yeah, and that's just the first couple of rooms in this maze. Yeah. So the next room you walk into is you see some of the equipment that they were using. The next room is where you see 3 dummies of monkeys or gorillas that they were experimenting on. And one of them is a puppet that moves and shakes that you get a little scare.
You mean the one in the cage?
Yeah.
Okay, that one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So next you enter a room where you see one of the researchers on the table, and there's a person dressed up as a monkey or the gorilla tearing him apart. So, I just want to say this because there are rumors that after opening weekend that they got rid of that character and now you see like a human zombie tearing into that. But I cannot deny if this is true or false. So the next time we go back to HHN for the second time, we're definitely going to do Dead Exposure so I can see if they took that character away or if it's still there. So
I think there was a lot of controversy about that character.
That's what I heard. So I heard that they took it away. But as I said, I cannot deny or confirm that. That is the rumor going around.
Right.
So if the character's not there, the second time we go there and then closing night, then I can tell you it's confirmed. But if we do see that character, I will let you guys know after the second night that we go. Then you walk down a hallway and there's a blood trail and you follow the blood trail to find out where it came from. Then you enter a small hallway where you see a projector of the green fire. You enter another hallway and there's a window where one of the people dressed in the hazmat suit that's a zombie is banging on the window, and that was a good scare. I did enjoy that scare. What about you?
I did enjoy that scare. I was looking at something else and then he knocked on the window and it freaking scared me out.
It did. It scared me. It scared me.
I was looking at another thing and then like, oh, another scare.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Exactly. Yeah. So after that, then you enter a room where you see where the trail of blood started, and you see a dummy in like a Ziploc bag that has like a gas mask on them, and then you're in the commander's center for the facility, and everyone's dead, and you see a video projection of a sergeant or general saying that we have lost control and everyone has to evacuate, get out. It's too dangerous. So it's like you now have to get out of this facility. So then also in that room, there's a statue of a human zombie and you think it's a statue, but it's an actually a live actor that pops out and scares you. That was a good scare.
That was a good scare. I wasn't expecting that. So.
The next room you enter like a jail cell, and then the last of the area, so you go through like 2 rooms that have no thing, and then the final jail scale, there is another human zombie that pops out and scares you. That leads you into the next area. The next area is the cooling center. And let me tell you something, for those couple of minutes that we were in there, because Opening night was so freaking hot. It was over 100 degrees. Going in that cooling center was so nice.
It was.
It
was. My gosh, Evan.
Yes. As you enter the hallway, you see a worker that looks like an electrician scare you. Then you see a projection of some more zombies walking around. Then as you enter the cooling center, there are 2 human zombies that come out and scare you. One that's to your left and one that's to your right as you're exiting that area. So then that leads you into the final room. You walk down the hallway and you see a green light like you're going towards that area. So the final area is the radiation area. Then you go into the hallway with the green light. The next room you see projections of the green fire again. That's spreading faster now. You pass these green barrels and then another hallway where you see another human zombie come out and scare you that leads you into the final room where you pass these green barrels and there are 3 human zombies that pop out. 1 that's on your left and then 2 to your right. And one of my colleagues that I work with at AMC, his name is Cody, he plays one of the zombies at the very end. So I didn't see him on opening night, but hopefully I'll see him in action 2 more times that I go. But he plays one of the zombies at the end. And you go down a couple more hallways, and then there's a final scare with a dummy of zombies, like those zombies that come out and scare you. That's a dummy, and then that is the end of the maze. So your thoughts on your first impressions, thoughts of that?
I really liked it. I liked the 2 double scares that we had. I was looking at one and then the other, but really well done. The story was great. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Really liked it. And that's it. I really liked it. Good maze.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yeah. So as I said, for that gorilla character, I cannot deny or confirm that they did take it out. So once we go back a second time and closing night, we will know for sure, because if that character's not there on closing night, then we know. for sure that they did take that character out.
And if we go, we're going 2 more times. So if we don't see it there the second night, and the third night,
then we know they got rid of that. So if anyone in the comments know if they took that character out after opening weekend, please let me know, because I know that character was there on opening night. So,
James, your impression of it?
My impression, I loved it. I loved the original story. I loved everything. So, I really would not change a thing. I really did enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah. So then
I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So, we're going to talk about our final thing that we did for that night, which was one of the 2 shows. There are 2 shows for Horror Nights this year. There is the Late Night with Chucky, and then there's the Stunt Show. We did not see the Purge Stunt Show. We saw the Chucky show because that was the one I was more interested in seeing. Then, as I said, the second time we go back, we're going to see the Purge Stunt Show to see if it's the same or not. So the Late Night with Chucky was located in the theater, the DreamWorks theater. As you enter the theater, there was a hype person that got you excited. to be a live audience. So basically, for any like talk show or late night show, there was always a person that gets the crowd ready to go in. So that's what they were simulating for
with this person.
With this person getting you ready.
Hyping you up.
Hyping up. And then you find out that there was going to be a special guest, but then you find out that Chucky killed the guest that was going to be on his show, so they basically changed the format, and you can submit questions to Chucky. So there was a small QR code that you could scan, and you could submit your questions, depending if it was a slow night or a busy night. Because when we went, it was super busy, so they only did about maybe 6-7 questions, and then they were trying to get people out. But on slow nights, I know the show goes a little bit longer. So it just depends on the night that you go, if you're going to get a long show
or a short show.
Or a short show. Because I know I've seen videos where they had people, where they answered a lot more questions that people submitted. And then there was times where they just did 5 or 6 questions, and then
that's it.
That was it. So, as I said, it depends on the night that you go. You might have a longer show, you might have a shorter show. So, basically, it was the same concept, like Chucky's Insult Emporium, where Chucky was insulting you. If you ask questions and stuff, because some people would ask questions and then sometimes he would insult people. Same thing, but the only difference is it was in the DreamWorks sphere where you could actually sit down and watch the show instead of being stand up, because the Chucky's Emporium show was in where they have the Monsters Maze going through the not the Universal Plaza, like the etcher scene for Mel's Diane. I can't remember the name of it. Like it was like the patio area. I couldn't think of it. But if you guys been to Universal, you know the area I'm talking about. And then they would basically pick the best questions to ask. For the Chucky show, they had between 2 and 3 people for each row. So they had a hype person that was a girl, and then they had the Chucky sidekick. So during talk shows, they would always have like a sidekick that would interact with the
audience.
With the audience during the show and with the host. So like Jimmy Fallon, he has his sidekick. So any late night show would always have a sidekick. So like Jay Leno had his main guitarist as a sidekick that would interact with. Right. So yeah. So they were in like you were going to a talk show.
Right.
Or a late night show.
Got it.
And then you had puppeteers that did the Chucky. So they would have 2 or 3 of them. So you depending on the cast that you had, you would see a different person. So as you enter the theater, you see the sidekick talking to Diana and having back and forth conversations like, hey, the producer would ask where Jessica is. Jessica is dead because she got Chucky's coffee run, and then you hear a chainsaw where he's like, hey, is Chucky doing that thing or is that tech? And, just back and forth things. And then, of course, they would go live as a sidekick would high-five people in the front row and then introduce a Chucky. And then, of course, the sidekick would answer the question, would read the questions to Chucky. And then Chucky would answer, and then depending on the question, he would answer the questions, and then there's a specific question that they had in the script where the sidekick would ask, what is your favorite weapon? And that would kind of know, like, hey, the show's about to end, because Chucky said a knife, and then saying, that these people don't want to see it, don't want to hear me talking about it, they want to see it, and, saying that, hey, Universal Legal can only hide one body per night, and it's just a little joke because, Chucky's the killer doll, so that's like the joke. And then he's also saying that, hey, our producer Diane is, not saying that you can't do it, and Chucky's getting pissed off with Diane, and they make a little joke like this was a promo to promote the Chucky series that's now on Peacock and Sci-Fi, and there's a red light where he says signing off, and the sidekick is trying to say, hey, Diane, run, and you see Chucky kill the producer, and then that's pretty much the end of the show. So, really funny show. Really did enjoy it. There's sometimes, for the longer shows, you would have some good questions, so it just really depends. But for my opinion, I really did enjoy it. And I'm going to tell you this was the last announcement for Halloween Horror Nights. No one knew this was coming. Like, this was released like maybe a week before opening
I think it was like a week and a half. Before
opening of Halloween Horror Nights, and no one knew because everyone was thinking that we were not going to get a show in the DreamWorks theater.
Everybody thought it was just going to be the Purge stunt show.
Everyone thought it was going to be the Purge stunt show, so that was a really good surprise. So I would not change that format. I'm definitely going to see that show a couple of times live on the second night as well as closing night. So, your thoughts on that show?
I really enjoyed it. Very good. The questions were good. The one that we saw. Just everything was good about the show. I really enjoyed it.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty much, so that is everything we did on opening night. So, as I said, my co-host Marsha and I will be going back to Halloween Horror Nights 2 more times. So definitely we will let you guys know on social media what days that we are going to be going, because there's one particular day that I said that we were going to go, but that's up in the air. We might be changing the date for that particular one. We're still going closing night. November 3rd is a guaranteed. We will be there on closing night. But the second time that I said that we were going to go originally, we may not be going, but that's still up in the air. But definitely, if you guys are interested in finding out when videos are coming out or if videos get delayed or anything, please follow me on all my social media sites. So, you can follow my co-host, my mom, Marsha, on her social media sites. She has a Twitter account, which she sometimes posts stuff, and sometimes she posts stuff on Instagram. And then you can follow me, your host, Mr. James, a.k.a. Jimmy Pancakes, on my Facebook page, my Twitter account, which is now known as X, my Instagram account, and my new social media site, which is TikTok. That's where you'll find the latest stuff on everything that's going, when videos are coming out, when videos are posting and everything. So the game plan is when we go back the second night, we're going to hit the 5 mazes that we did not do, which is Ghostbusters, Insidious, A Quiet Place,
the Monstros one,
and
the Terror Tram.
And also the Universal Monsters Internal Bloodline. So we're going to hit those mazes first when we go back the second time, and then we'll do the rest of the mazes, and then we're going to definitely be there November 3rd for closing night. So, that is everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video / podcast. I know it's been a while, but I just, things were happening and stuff like that. So definitely, I will let you guys know if we're going on that specific day that I did mention originally, or if that's going to be postponed. So as I said, the best way to find out on everything that I'm doing,
his social media sites.
My social media sites, which is, again, my Facebook page, my Twitter account, a.k.a. my Instagram, and my TikTok. And then you can follow my co-host, Marsha, on her social media sites, which is Twitter, a.k.a. and Instagram. So, I don't know when the next video/podcast is going to be coming out, but we'll see you guys for the next video/podcast sometime in the future. I want to thank my co-host for joining me. So, Mom,
You're welcome.
Any final thoughts?
The mazes that we saw so far, really good. I can't wait to see the other ones on the day that we're going. So, we'll keep you posted on the date.
On the days that we're going.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
We're definitely going on November 3rd, and then I said that second time that I said that we were going to go, that's still up in the air, but I will let you guys know on my social media sites if we're going that day or if it's going to be a different day. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I was your host, Mr. James Singh, I was your host, Mr. James, a.k.a. Jimmy Pancakes 20, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.